Setting up your meeting for Facebook Live.
I see it. We're on Facebook.
Do you? I don't see it on my phone yet. This is fascinating. Ah, there we are. Okay. Wow, that is really bizarre, and I can't see you. I would love to see you.
Oh, I can see you.
It's so funny. All I see is myself. Oh, it's alternating back and forth. It's not doing.
As whoever's talking, it goes back and forth.
Yes. Hide self view. Show non-video participants. No. Rename. Pin video. Stop video. No, none of those are really doing what I want, but I've never done this before, so I don't know. Okay, so if you're tuning in now, welcome. My name is Jen Moff, as you probably know. So glad that you guys are able to take some time out of this Monday afternoon to join me. I announced the other day that this month is especially important to me. In light of March having International Women's Day, it also is a special day for a dear friend and client of mine. And I will let her introduce herself momentarily. She and I have worked together in a coaching client relationship for many years, and she's just fucking fantastic, and I'm so excited that you guys are going to get to spend some time with us. We just do what we do, and hopefully provide some inspiration and some excitement for you. What it takes to really be able to manage your mindset during stressful times and all that good stuff. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Elizabeth.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Leppek. Everybody knows me as Liz. I have adored the Jen Moff. She has helped me in so many different ways, and we're just gonna kind of do what we do, and that's just chat and hopefully we can help other people out there in listening to our chats.
Yay! I called it a fireside chat, and then I was like, I don't have a fire.
That's okay. I've had enough fires. I'm good with it.
Girl, I think that's a great place to start. So a year ago, something really intense happened to you. Take me back to that day and that time, because that was huge.
Okay, so it was actually a year ago, last Friday, the 13th of March, 2019. It was a day like every other. It was, the beginning of spring was coming, and it was supposed to be like a 50-degree day. And I took my daughter. My daughter goes into school for an activity early, and so I was taking her into school. And we got about, I don't know, 3/4 of the way there. And my son, who was a freshman at college, who was on spring break at the time, calls me. I don't know about you, but not a whole lot of people call me at 7:40 in the morning. So at first I didn't recognize the phone number, and so I just ignored it. And
you
so
didn't recognize your that's
no, well, it wasn't my son's phone. It was a neighbor's phone, but I had no idea. So
I was like, that I don't remember a lot of numbers either, but that takes the cake. Well done.
No, I have that one programmed. It comes up with his name. But anyway, so he called right back, and I answered the phone, and because I figured, if somebody's trying a couple different times to call me, then it must be important. And it was my son, and he said, "Mom, there was a fire on the porch." And I immediately went into panic mode, where are the cats? Because we have 2 fur babies. And did you call the police? Did you call the 911? What's going on? And he's like, "No, the fire department's already here. The cats are out." And I don't remember all that was said, but I did the fastest U-turn in the middle of the street that I ever have probably done.
Yeah.
Luckily, you know, again, it's 7:40 in the morning, there wasn't a lot of traffic, so I didn't put myself or my daughter in danger. Um, but I was literally almost all the way across town by then. And then my phone rang again. It was my brother-in-law. And he said, my coworker lives down the street from you. Are you okay? And I said, I have no idea what's happening. I'm on my way back home. And basically what had happened is that when he said there was a porch fire, I was not prepared for what I saw when I came around the corner. What had happened was we had a string of outside lights plugged into an outdoor timer. That timer sparked, which caught the patio furniture that we had stored for the winter on the porch. It caught fire. It melted, broke the storm door window and the glass pane of the window and the other storm window that we had on the inside, and caught the couch on fire. The fire department was there within 3 minutes of the first 911 call coming in. The fire was contained in 16 minutes, but the damage that it did to my house left us virtually homeless. The smoke went all over the house, and it was like tar. When they say smoke damage, you don't really understand that unless you've actually seen it and been there.
Mhm.
It covers everything. It ruins everything it touches. And a lot of the stuff that we had in our house, we've lived in our house for 15 years, and it was 80% of it was gone, unsalvageable. Anything plastic, anything that was made of plywood, anything that was made of paper is gone.
Wow.
So think of all the things that you have in your house that either are plastic, plywood, or paper.
Yeah.
And the only things that were salvageable really were things that were in the basement, because the smoke went up and didn't go down into the basement. There was water damage in our basement, obviously, from the fire hoses. But we could not, our house was condemned that morning and we could not go home. So we basically had just the clothes on our back, and we had to be escorted into our own house after the fire
for safety.
For our safety, and to collect our valuables, basically. So it was pretty devastating. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, there was a bit of a network issue, so I'm not sure. I asked if, just to confirm, this was just a year ago on the 13th.
The 13th of March, 2019. Yeah.
So you and I were still working together at that time,
yep.
Right? I remember finding out about it from you, and immediately I was thinking, oh my gosh, what can I do? What does she need? How can I best support you so that you're able to stay in a supportive state of mind, so that your nervous system is nice and relaxed? And to your credit, all of the work that we had done prior really set you up to manage that initial and the following stressors very, very well. Would you mind talking a little bit about that experience, just managing your stress afterwards? Because that's huge, to lose so much, to have that trauma, that's big. How did you manage that?
Quite honestly, I don't really remember everything that happened, because I think your mind kind of blocks out the worst parts.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember doing the exercises that you taught me, like grounding myself, realizing that I'm safe, my family's safe, my fur babies are safe. My one cat had to be rescued from the fire department, and she was in the vet hospital for 48 hours. And we had neighbors that came out and were shoving food and water bottles into our hand, that while the fire department was still there. You know, what can we do? Do you need some place to go? Whatever. So when I was grounding myself, and basically grounding, if you know Gen Moff, you know what grounding is, but for people who don't, you put your feet
Yeah.
on the floor, you center yourself, and you connect with everything from the middle of the earth up, like you just connect. And so I did that, and I set my intentions. I'm safe, my family's safe, I'm loved, um, I'm protected. And it kind of, it was like a wave that came over me that said, this will be okay, you'll make it through this. And that helped me be able to be there for my children and my husband. And you know, to my husband's credit, you know, you don't know what to do, you know, when you can't go home, you don't know where to go, you don't know what to do, you don't, you know, you're still trying to figure out, what does insurance cover, what does it not cover, blah blah blah. You get all these thoughts of like, what do I do, what do I do? It's very,
So much
very
unknown.
overwhelming. Yeah. And so because I was able to ground and center myself, I was able to be there for my children and my husband in a way that supported them where they were at that time. So
So, and go ahead, please.
it didn't have to be all about me, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
It sounds like when you pour into yourself and you take care of yourself, it obviously better equips you to provide and support other people. It's, you know, that old adage, you can't pour from an empty cup. Put on the oxygen mask before you go to put somebody else's on.
absolutely.
So grounding was a big tool that was helpful for you.
It was a huge helpful at that particular moment. And going on, when we knew insurance was going to pay for a hotel room and we didn't have to figure out where we could go with our cat, because that was one of the things that I decided, that wherever we go, we have to have our fur babies with us too. We
Yeah.
cannot leave them in the kennel or with a friend or with whoever. Wherever we go, they go, because they're a part of our family. And at that time, you know, you kind of need your snuggles with your animals. so once we figured out, you know, insurance was paying for a hotel room for us, we could bring the cats with
Mm-hmm.
us. Then I moved into the self-care mode a little bit more.
Yes.
And um, continued with my meditation and my setting intentions and my mantras, all that kind of thing helped me remember, did not allow my brain to run away from me, basically, is what I'm thinking. Is because so often your brain lies to you and it tells you the worst things that you could possibly imagine in something like that. And
Yeah.
instead of relying on that, I relied on what I knew and what I wanted and what I knew was going to happen in this.
You mentioned something that I think is kind of important to touch on. You said your brain kind of runs away with you.
Yeah.
Let's go back to when we first started working together. Do you remember when that was?
That was 5 years ago, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that was like, yeah, it was 2015, 2014, somewhere in there. I have to go back and look for sure. You came to me because you had a couple of specific things you wanted for yourself and were not experiencing. Do you remember what those were?
I remember telling you that I felt my life was too good. Like I had the perfect family, my kids were healthy, I had a great marriage, I
Mm-hmm.
had, you know, a great job, and I just felt like the other shoe, I was constantly feeling like the other shoe was going to drop and my world was going to come undone.
So there was
That-
like a lurking anxiety and you couldn't place it because everything looked great, right?
right. And I was always, instead of living for the moment, like I'm so happy that everything is going so well, I always was like, yeah, but it can't last because something's going to happen. So, and I didn't want to live that way. I didn't want to be one of those people that would always look for the bad in everything.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that in light of what's going on globally right now, it's very easy for us to focus on catastrophizing, fear. You know, there's those two major spectrums, right? There's either you operate from love or you operate from fear. And you and I were saying just before we got on the live how different the online space, Twitter, excuse me, is compared to like real relationships and in-person relationships and seeing people face to face, how much fear there is that's out there. So you mentioned also just this desire to not live like that. Was there a reason that at that moment, that time that you were like, I'm drawing a line in the sand, I'm done with it? What made you decide like, I'm gonna do whatever I need to do to have things be the way that I want them?
Well, I had a good job, but I didn't feel like I was going anywhere with it. And I
Mm-hmm.
was kind of stuck in the fear of, I don't have an education, I can't do anything else, I'm lucky to have this job. And I wanted to not live like that anymore. I wanted to be able to try to do my own thing and not be guided, I guess, by my fear. I didn't think like that at the time, but looking back, that's exactly what it was.
Right.
Um, I was guided by fear of the unknown, of trying to do things outside the norm, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, and I was coming to a point in my career, mainly it was my career, that was saying, you're not going any further up this ladder and you're going to be stuck here. And you've already worked here for 17 years. How much longer are you going? You still have 20 something, 30 something, 40 years of work left. Are you going to stay here and be stuck in the same position in the same job this whole time? And I didn't want that. And I didn't know how to get past it. So, of course, you and I connected through a different group on Facebook, and so I was just like, she seems really cool, so I'm gonna reach out to her.
The feeling was obviously mutual. It's funny, like I look back over the course of those years and just how we would reflect after 6 months or a year, just different periods, just to see like how things have changed. Well, now, like you said, it's been about 5 years, and you shared at the beginning like this major situation that happened about a year ago, but that wasn't like the only major stressor that's happened to you in the last 365. Would you
No.
mind sharing a little bit about what else has gone on for you?
Well, I remember about the beginning of last year. My manager at the time, she said, what's going on with you? You're making these mistakes that you usually don't make, and you're not acting yourself. And I remember telling her, I just don't feel right. Like physically, I just don't feel right. And I can't place it. And there's nothing really wrong, but I just don't feel good. And then towards the, hope y'all don't mind, I'm going to get real personal here.
We
But
like that here. Like,
towards the end of February of last year, I started having stomach issues. I had diarrhea, and I wasn't really able to eat a lot of like fiber type stuff because it was really aching my stomach. And then after the fire happened, less than a month later, everything went into overdrive. I had really bad stomach cramps, gas, bloating, like you name it, I had it. I ended up um, backing up just slightly. February is my birthday, so I always go to my doctor and have my regular yearly checkup in February. And
Yeah.
and I mentioned that I was having this diarrhea, and she said, "Well, usually it takes a couple of weeks if you change your diet," which I had, to work itself out. But you've been doing this for like 3 weeks, so you should be over it. I'm wondering if you have like a food sensitivity. So she told me to keep a diary of the things that I was eating and how much of it, and
Yeah.
how I felt, and all the stuff that. So after the fire, when all the other things started to get much worse, I ended up in a walk-in clinic because um, there was a day that I was in so much pain. I was hunched over, literally could not stand up straight. So I went to the walk-in clinic, and they said, it's IBS, irritable
Mm.
bowel syndrome. Um, Follow this diet, go see your doctor in the next 2 weeks, and follow this diet for 6 weeks. You should be good. They asked about family history. I told them that I have an aunt that was fighting colon cancer, but there was no other cancer in my direct line, not my parents, not my grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
And so they said, well, we don't think it's cancer because you're young, you're only 46, and you don't have the direct line in family history.
Right.
Okay. So went to saw my doctor. She agreed. IBS, keep following this diet. See you in a month. And then April came. I went back. Still having these problems. Let's go to the gastroenterologist and have an upper GI, see what's going on. Because at that point, I was also complaining that I was starting to feel pain right above my right side, my right quadrant, right underneath where my rib cage starts. I'm like, I don't know if that's my stomach. Like, do I have a problem with reflux? No, but so
Yeah. It was getting
anyway, so
worse. You
it
weren't
was
getting
getting
answers,
worse.
so you kept going.
So the next month, she said, see you in a month. So the next month, I had started to lose weight, and I started at 127 pounds, and I had lost 10 pounds. Wasn't trying to lose weight. She said, why haven't you I haven't made an appointment with the gastroenterologist? And I said, well, I tried, but they said to call back for a new patient appointment. And she's like, this isn't right. You've lost 10% of your body weight by this point. You need to go see them. So she made the call to the doctor, got me in the next day.
When was this at this point? Was this
This
May,
was
June?
this was this was the end of May. And so I saw the gastroenterologist the next day, and they scheduled a colonoscopy for me in 2 weeks. So it was mid-June at this point.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't do the colonoscopy because they found a mass that almost totally was blocking my colon. And at that time, they said they believed it was cancerous, and they sent me to a CT scan that day and a surgeon that Monday. And that surgeon said, yes, it's cancerous. We're sending you to the oncologist. We don't think that it's operable at this point because we saw on the CT scan that there are masses in your liver. So it already spread to my liver. Oncologist diagnosed me on June 28th, confirmed everything, that I have stage 4 colon cancer that had metastasized to my liver. And that was the pain that I was feeling. My liver was so enlarged that it was hitting up against my rib cage, causing me physical pain.
Wow.
So
Were you back in
I
your home at this point? Like where were things at with the house?
no, at this point, the work in my house had just started, basically. So
So you're
because
homeless still at this point, basically
yep,
living in a rental, the insurance is taking care of all of that, and
yep,
you've got this major health situation that
yeah,
just landed not even 3 months later. Um,
right. And they said that it was so dire, they did not want me to wait. I was diagnosed on June 28th. My first chemo treatment was July 3rd. Usually it doesn't happen that quickly.
yeah.
So I knew that it was serious. It's not just something that, um, oh, you go for one round of chemotherapy, you get radiation or surgery or both, and then you're cancer free. No,
Mhm.
this was huge. Is huge. It still is huge. But
I love the wig that's over your left. Is it over your left shoulder? Am I doing directions
yep,
right? Yeah.
yep.
Cool. um, before we started the Facebook Live, you were wearing it, and you mentioned something about like having this alter ego. I think that's such a cool idea to bring in or call in like an attitude or a mindset or an identity that supports you. So tell me more about this alter ego, like this persona. Like what are you calling in when you put on that wig?
Well, I'm calling in all of my strength, everything, like nothing can bother me because in that wig, I am like this ultra rock star that is surrounded by an entourage that nothing can hurt me. I can do whatever the hell I want to do.
Hell yeah.
And and nobody's gonna stop me. That's how I feel when I'm like in this wig. So, and like I shared with you before we started, I took it off because I wanted to be my authentic self and not in the alter ego state while we were doing this. Just because I feel like I can reach more people by being authentic and not into this alter ego state. But I love that damn wig like nothing else. I wear it all the time.
That's so fun. That's so fun. And your favorite color is?
Blue,
Blue, blue, blue.
blue.
I love that because blue, from a spiritual perspective, we've talked about this, I think, before. Blue has to do with the throat chakra, which is all about speaking your truth and being able to fully listen and receive. And I think that in watching you, you can almost see like this receptiveness and this opportunity for you to really be fully transparent and how much that's impacted other people. Can you talk a little bit about how the work that you've done on yourself prior to March 2013? No, party. Oh, take two. March 13th, 2019. um, how you speaking up for the things that you want and getting more in touch with like that spiritual essence, how that has really been supportive to you, not just been supportive to you, but how that's impacted all of your relationships.
Well, for one, I've been able to do things that I never thought I would have the um, courage to do. Um, I'm an introvert. I like to be by myself. I don't like to be around a lot of people, and I also never really like to do things by myself at the same time. Like if I wanted to do something, I would always have to have somebody come with me. Oh, I was thinking about doing this. Do you want to do it too with me? And if they would said no, then I just wouldn't do it.
Mm,
So some of the work that we worked on together was a lot of um, building myself up, building my self self confidence, and working through all the things that were holding me back. And And now I don't feel like, I don't know, a year ago, I probably would never have done this interview live. I would have been like, oh, you gotta like record it and then edit it so it's perfect. And I don't know. And then, oh, do I look okay? And how's my hair? And I got to put makeup on and blah, blah, blah. And now I'm just like, this is me. I am who I am, accept it or don't. But I feel the urge to, because everybody has said to me, I don't know how you do it. You know, you've gone through so much in the past year. I don't know how you're even still getting out of bed. Well, it's because of all that work that I've done for myself with your guidance. Because part of me always wants to put all of my success on Jen Moff. Like Jen Moff did this for me. But again, something that Jen Moff taught me was that it's the work that I invest in myself. It's not only the mental stuff, but sometimes you have to put your money where your mouth is. And if you want a free service, then you get what you pay for. And I made the conscious choice to put the money that could have gone to a vacation, that could have gone to, pedicures and manicures all summer long or all year long or whatever. And I invested that in myself. But I did the work. The work has to be done. This is not a mindset that you can just adopt overnight. It takes time and it takes work and it takes retraining of your brain. And ultimately, I'm nobody special. Anybody can do this. If I can do it, anybody can. I mean, not that I had like huge baggage. Like I said, I have, a great marriage, great kids. My kids are healthy. My family is near and dear to me, and I have tons of support and friends and family. But if I can do it, anybody can. And ultimately, that's where I'm coming from now over this past few months. Is I just want everybody to know that you can do the hard things. And it doesn't have to be, my hard doesn't have to be any better than your hard. Like, we all have our own hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my hard might seem like astronomical to you, but you still have a hard. And I'm not one to say, oh, well, that's nothing. I got you. Which I probably could say that, but whatever.
That's super helpful. What the?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love listening to you because you're right. Like a year ago, I don't know that we would have been able to do this. Like,
no, I don't think we could have.
Probably not. So there's, even gifts that you've been able to identify in the things that people typically wouldn't be thankful for.
Yeah.
So are you back in your house now?
I am. This is my bedroom. It's beautiful. It is not finished. We're still working with contractors, but we are so close to being finished. It's just so close. So I am back in my house, and that helped me considerably. I know we talked at one point where you told me that I had not faced the whole gravity of losing the house and all the stuff that was going on with that. And I agreed with you. You were right. But since we've been back in, I feel like I've had that. I've been able to process everything and really see it for what it is. And so now, instead of looking back and it being painful and hurting so much, it's almost healing to go back and look at pictures and videos and stuff, because I've moved past what has happened, and I'm looking forward to, you know, the what is to come, what this house has in store. I actually have a, if you know Gone with the Wind, um, I have a sign that I had made for me that said my Tara, because this is my earth. This is where I get my strength. And I did not realize that a house could have such an impact on you until after the fire. And that was another thing I wanted to say. So, like, everything is about gratitude. You have to be grateful for everything you have, because if you don't, then you do sink into that pity party and woe is me attitude. And nobody wants to live there. And definitely nobody wants to be around people that live there. So if you like, if you can find the gratitude in the smallest things, like the wine bottle opener you've had since you were 15, 20 years old, or, you know, like the color of your bedroom, even though you hate it, or every little thing, like the people that surrounded me with love and support after this whole year, I had no idea. I had no idea the support and love that I had already in place before all of this happened.
Wow.
And I'm just so very grateful for every last person and every last belonging that I have, and whatever it is, I, you know, and people say, well, you know, at least nobody was hurt and stuff is just stuff. And that's true until it's your stuff. And then it becomes a little harder.
And even then,
see.
those are two things that, while they're said with, you know, positive motive and intent, if you look at the two phrases, at least no one was hurt, it's just stuff. It's a very, those are very contractive statements. It's not focusing on what you have. It's minimizing the pain because of this didn't happen. It's still
Right.
focusing on the loss through the lens of, oh, be grateful because you didn't lose X, Y, and Z,
Right.
instead of focusing on the abundance and the things that are available. The two big themes that I've heard you talk about over and over again are gratitude and our grounding. And I couldn't say enough about like the privilege that it has been for me to support you these last 5 years, and to see your journey, and to we actually got to meet for the first time last October, first week or so. I had to fly to Indianapolis for a youth conference that I was facilitating, and you know, you drove 2 hours from where you live to come down and pick me up from the airport. Like, that's the kind of relationship that Liz and I have now. It's one that is truly just celebratory of each other and what we both understand and know. And I really want to celebrate you, because like you truly are an inspiration, especially right now in these times that we're in, which is unprecedented for everyone alive, for the United States of America and globally. If you could say anything to people about what you now know and what you've learned and the spiritual message possibly behind all of this, or what, you know, big truths are kind of popping for you to help people and keep them kind of inspired. I'm not saying like put all this pressure on you, you got to inspire everyone now, but like, you know, you have such good message, and I'm just curious if there's anything that you could say in light of the recent changes due to the coronavirus. Is there anything that you would want to say?
Well, I think I said this before we jumped on live, but to say that my anxiety and my fears haven't escalated a little bit through this past week or 2 weeks or whatever, I'd be lying. I'm not perfect by any means. I still have fears and things that crop up, and but knowing that you doing whatever it is that you can to help other people, because I believe that if you get out and help other people, then you worry less about yourself. You know, obviously we can't all run out and help at the food bank, because, you know, we're supposed to be self-isolating and doing whatever it is we need to do.
Yeah.
But just for an example, today in my state, they shut down bars and restaurants for dine-in. So I've made it a mission for me to take all of my extra budgeted money and put that into going and getting gift cards and carry out restaurants. And I feel like if everybody focused on not themselves, a lot of people, I'm going to ramble here, so sorry, but a lot of people seem to think that if they say the things that they've heard or read in the Bible, then that's all that needs to be done. But there's definitely something to be said about living it. And I feel like, and I didn't realize I was even doing it until someone else pointed it out to me, but I feel like you can live the word that you believe in a way that will help not only yourself, but everyone around you. And again, it comes with the gratitude of everything that you have and everything that you want for your children and your family and your friends. And you can be even a small piece of that. If you are in a place in your life where you can reach out and help others, it helps you tenfold.
Yeah.
And you hear that 100 times. It sounds so cliche, but it really, really is true. Through this whole past year, it has been taught to me. I don't believe that everything happens for a reason, but I believe that there's a lesson in everything that happens. And I have learned so many lessons, and I am so grateful for every freaking last one of them. And I don't wish that I'm not saying that, oh, I'm happy that this all happened to me in this past year, but that they have taught me.
Yes. I want to thank you so much for spending this last 45 minutes with me and just sharing pieces of your story. I know we could probably keep talking for forever because that's just how we roll. But I want to be mindful of your time and just thank you again for sitting down and the complete transparency and the wisdom and the gifts and inspiration that you continually give to me, and you're now getting to share with so many more people over time. In light of some of the things that you talked about, the gratitude and the grounding in particular, I think those are themes that are really valuable for us regardless, clearly. However, I'm going to stutter for a second because I just got so excited. In light of everything that's going on, those are essential right now. Like those two things, mandatory stuff we all should be doing. So I'd love to take the next 7 days or so and provide a challenge of sorts, a grounding and gratitude challenge to help support anybody that really wants to do the work, that wants to invest in themselves, as Liz talked about, to keep their mindset high vibe, to stay in the consciousness of love and let fear go. If you're interested in something like that, if you know that your anxiety has been heightened right now and you want to use these coming weeks to really go inward and change the way maybe you've been doing some things, that's something I would love to do for all of you. So drop me a note in the comments if you're interested, and I will provide more information about that for you. Liz, thank you so much. Glad to see you're doing amazing as always. You rock star, you're killing it, and I'm just so inspired by you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I might want to add just a tiny little tiny thing.
Please close us out. Close us out with whatever final words you have.
Because March is Colon Cancer Awareness Month, I want to encourage anybody who watches, if they're having any kind of issues with your stomach, with your BM movements, with all that nasty, nobody wants to talk about stuff, please, you can get colon cancer at any age. It's the second leading cancer death for both men and women all across the world, and we're getting it at younger and younger ages. Please reach out to your doctors and get checked. Thank you, Jen.
Mwah. Thanks, guys. See you guys soon. Liz, bye.
Bye.